Hi, it's Hannah. Thanks for joining me. It is time for the monthly perfume rotation where I talk about the perfume that I wore and sampled in the past month. March was super busy for me. I just got back from Milan, so I was recovering from that vacation. But then I also had a week off, so I was away again in March. And so that meant that I wasn't necessarily reaching for my whole collection as much as I might normally. And I sampled a bunch of things because I took some decants with me to my vacation. So I got to sample them. It was good that I did that because it kind of forced me to reach for things that were maybe not top of the mind otherwise. I was gifted some decants from Cherie's collection. Cherie's channel is the Top Note. So go follow her. She knew that I was kind of expanding my familiarity with the Dior Privé line, and I was really interested in trying some more of those. Of course, I sampled them at the counter, and I have a few bottles. I have Bois d'Argent, I have Diorama Vanilla or Vanilla Diorama, and I also have the new look, the new one. And she gifted me some other ones that I hadn't been able to try either because they were discontinued or I just like didn't get to really try them. So I took those on vacation and I will talk about those also. I did get a new bottle in March, and that was Prada Marienbad. And I bought this right at the beginning of March. I wasn't going to buy anything because, as I mentioned before, I got a whole bunch of new samples when I got back from Italy. So I have tons of stuff to try from there, from attending Incense. But Marianbad was on my wish list and a bottle came up for sale. This was a blind buy for me. And if you think that this bottle looks a little bit different, it's from the Prada Olfactories collection. So this is like their, I guess, private line. It's only available at Prada boutiques, I believe. And I don't know. From what I hear, the rumor is that they are discontinuing some of this line. I don't know if they're discontinuing all of it or maybe they're just dialing back on how many they're offering or where they're offering them. This line or bits and pieces of this line have turned up at discounters in past years. So I know that there are some cheaper bottles floating around if you're interested in trying this line or sampling this line. So I did not have to pay full price for this. I definitely didn't buy my bottle at the Prada boutique. I bought it used. And like I said, this was a blind buy for me because I've smelled some of these. I smell them in Milan, but that's different than having a sample and smelling it in person. I know that Infused and Durice was initially launched as a private line perfume. Like it was, there was a collection of perfumes that were just available in the boutiques and they were single note perfumes. So there was an iris one and then that turned into the Infusion Durice that we know now. I don't know what the whole story of this olfactories line is. I think that they just wanted to offer something that was a little bit less mainstream and maybe more for the luxury perfume consumer, you know, the connoisseur, the person that's in the know. That type of person would appreciate this line of perfume. So comparable to the Chanel Les Exclusive and comparable to maybe the Cartier private line or the Dior private line. This is Prada's version of that. Marienbad, I had heard of. I think my friend Ryan had mentioned it. His channel is The True Connoisseur, so go follow him if you don't already. And Marienbad is kind of in between Shalimar and Le Lion. So if you like that type of scent profile, you should sample Marienbad because it is really for the person that already loves those two. I would say that if you've smelled current Shalimar, this is way more complex and interesting than that. It's not as bergamot heavy, so it doesn't really have that zingy, zesty, fresh bergamot right at the opening. To me, it opens kind of smoky and waxy, and that is a little bit more similar to Le Lion, because I remember Le Lion being super, super smoky, and it doesn't have as much labdanum in the dry down as Le Lion does, but there is some in here. There's Tolu Balsam, which is iconic to Shalimar. There's vanilla. There's civet. So definitely more complex than current Shalimar, but now we're getting into complex Le Lion territory. There's some kind of florals in there, maybe a bit of rose, maybe a bit of ylang, but this is not a floral perfume. This is really more like Le Lion, where it's this smoky, complex, interesting, balsamic, amber scent. And because it's a little bit more similar to Le Lion, I think it veers slightly more masculine. It's unisex. I mean, I wear it, but I feel like Le Lion is so potent, so smoky, and it leans a little bit masculine. But I think that Marienbad is just a shade more unisex and almost a little bit easier to wear because it's not so potent and not overly smoky. Anyways, I ended up getting Marienbad right at the beginning of March, and then I could not stop wearing it. And it is just so interesting and fun to wear because it keeps changing, and what you smell at the end isn't what you smell at the beginning, and every time you wear it you smell something a little bit different. I think I wore this for a solid week when I first got it at the beginning of March, and I basically wore it every single day, and I would add a spray every day because every day I would be like, oh, it's just not enough. I just need to wear a little bit more. And by the end of the week, I was wearing something like 10 sprays, and people would walk into the room and be like, oh my God, are you wearing incense, or did you put incense on in here? And it was definitely Marienbad. So I did cut back after I got a few comments about the incense. I thought that maybe that was a little bit too strong, but I just could not get enough of it. And especially at the end of the day, when you have the labdanum and vanilla and the Tolu balsam on your skin, there's like a powderiness in here that maybe is a little bit more like Shalimar, and I think that's because of the benzoin. There's lots of benzoin in here too, and benzoin always has this incense smoky kind of quality. It definitely is powdery. I really could not get enough of it. I'm gonna spray some on right now. Yeah, beautiful. Definitely should be on your sample list or to try list if you end up being at a Prada boutique, because it's right in the middle of Shalimar and Le Lion. And I love those two perfumes, but this is kind of definitely better than current Shalimar. Way cheaper than Le Lion, especially if you can find it at discounters. It is at discounters right now. Feel free to, I feel like it's pretty safe. If you like Shalimar and Le Lion, I think you will like this. And if you can tolerate the animalic aspects of civet, you will really like it. There's definitely leather in here, so it kind of reminds me of vintage Shalimar in that respect, where, vintage Shalimar does have a leatheriness to it that is super apparent, and it's definitely more complex, whereas current Shalimar is more toned down and much easier to wear. So this is more like the older Shalimar, where it did have all those really potent, interesting, complex ingredients, and then current Shalimar has all those facets toned down. Le Lion is maybe not as animalic for sure, and is super smoky though, and is leathery also. So this is definitely going into that leather kind of area. So that's Marienbad. Love it. I'm going to continue wearing it. I don't think I will reach for my bottles of Shalimar quite as much. Maybe I will in the summertime because I don't think that I would wear this scent profile much in the summer or the spring. But if it is still cold and you can tolerate your ambers in all kinds of weather, then you will definitely love Marienbad. And it was a good blind buy for me, successful blind buy, and I am going to continue enjoying it. So one of the things that is not perfume, but definitely perfume related, is that in the month of March, Prada launched their new beauty line, and I was gifted some products from the line. I got 4 lipsticks. I got 2 lip balms and 2 lipsticks. And one of the things that I noticed is that the lipsticks are all scented with infusion de riz. And it's kind of a if you know moment when you smell something like that. I've had many bottles of infusion de riz. I have had the EDP, the EDT, and I love them all. It's such a fresh, springy kind of scent. It's not as powdery in the lipstick, and this is the universal lip balm, so it's completely clear and it's not glossy at all. So I think they've tried to make it very unisex so that men can wear it too. I know a lot of men like lip balm, but they don't want something that's shiny on their lips. This is one that is a little bit on the pricey side, but really nice and definitely a luxury beauty product. Lipsticks always have a scent, and I am not mad about that. It doesn't taste like anything, so once it's on your lips, you can't really smell it or taste it. But when I put this on first thing in the morning, all I can smell is the infusion de riz, and I absolutely love it. So just wanted to mention that. Prada Beauty Collection. I think this is available at Sephora and in department stores wherever you are. So check that out if you get a chance. This is just the universal lip balm that I have here. Let's talk about some things that I sampled this month. First of all, a while ago, I was sent a little decant of Eris Nightflower because I was really into Eris perfumes at the time. I had not smelled Nightflower, so I took a really long time to finish this decant, but it is done now. This is lovely. It's kind of a spicy, cinnamony kind of perfume. That's what I always got out of it. It's got this like sweetness, a little bit of heat. I found it to be really easy to wear and I loved wearing it. I don't think that I will miss it now that it's gone, so I don't know if I will add a bottle to my collection, but I did really enjoy this. If you're looking for a ambery cinnamon perfume, then you might like Nightflower. I didn't really get anything else out of this. I unfortunately cannot tell you the total range of notes. All I really could smell was cinnamon and vanilla and a sweetness. I do have a bottle of Eris MX and I really like wearing that. It's like a woodsy, spicy, smooth scent. I know that MXXX is way more popular, but I always liked MX, so I still have my bottle of that. The other thing that I wore, the 2 other perfumes that I wore, seem to feature a prominent black cardamom note. So black cardamom is bigger. It's like this big. It's not as small as green cardamom. It's got a smokier flavor and it's quite bitter as well. Green cardamom, if you've had it in your kitchen, you might know that you can eat it. You can pop it into your mouth and chew it as a mouth freshener. The outside shell is quite fibrous, so it ends up being something that stays in your mouth, like it doesn't break down with your teeth, and you can almost keep it in your mouth like a piece of gum. Black cardamom, I would not recommend eating that because it's so bitter and not as pleasant to chew on as green cardamom. I've never seen anyone eat black cardamom as like a mouth freshener. It's usually just used in cooking and maybe making tea. So the first perfume I tried with the note was Amouage Memoir Woman. This was sent to me by someone who just wanted to share some beautiful things in their collection, and I'm so grateful because I would never have, if I had smelled this in store, I probably wouldn't have put it on my skin because this black cardamom note is so smoky and intense. But in the background of all of that, there is like a really gorgeous amber, and it's sweet, and it's got vanilla and labdanum, but the black amber just makes it, or the black cardamom makes it so interesting and gives it a really intense smokiness. So I wore a ton of this, and I'm going to continue to wear it, but this was a sample that I found myself missing. I threw it in my gym bag, and then I didn't end up going through my gym bag for a little bit, but I remember waking up one morning and just thinking, oh my god, I missed that Amouage Memoir Woman perfume, and I need to dig it out and wear it again. So I wore it a few times in the month of March and really enjoyed it. So I am going to continue sampling this, and this was one that has kind of gone on my wish list. I think I will, maybe once the sample is done, maybe I'll look for a bottle, but I really, really liked Amouage Memoir Woman, so I wore that a lot. The other one is called Chopard Black Incense Malaki. This also has black cardamom in it, but it's way more bitter, and it's more smoky. And this was maybe not my favorite perfume, but I did enjoy wearing it when I wore it. I just think that this is a little bit more challenging. I've heard that this is becoming a little bit more popular now, but I will continue sampling it and see. I will update, I guess. I'll see what it turns into, but that is the other perfume sample that I wore a lot of. Finally, I'm opening this makeup brush kit because I ended up putting some of my decants in here so that they would be easy to take with me. The first one that I wore was New Look 1947. Again, this was sent to me by Cherie from the Top Note. This is a really gorgeous gardenia scent, and it's a little bit beachy. It's not very sunscreeny, but it's got like this salty quality to it, which is lovely with the gardenia. So you get that vacation kind of vibe. It was great to wear on vacation. However, I went to Mexico, which is quite hot and humid, and so nothing really lasts on your body or your clothes in Mexico. Like, it's just too warm. I sprayed tons of this on, and I liked it, but it didn't really turn into a love for me. I'll continue to sample it, and I'm so glad that I got to try it because a lot of people compared current New Look to the old New Look, and of course they're completely different. The current New Look was made by Kirkjan, and it's an aldehydic incense perfume. It's very cold, it's very polarizing because people really didn't like it, and I know people were upset that he took the name of an older perfume that they perceived as being better and used the same name but made a completely different scent. I do think that that's kind of weird. Like, why not just have a new name for it? But New Look 1947 is beautiful, and if you are looking for a summery, beachy gardenia perfume, maybe you really like gardenia, then this is one to try to find. It is discontinued. It's called New Look 1947. Beautiful, fun to wear, does not go on my wish list because at the same time I wore Nosy Ylang, and I liked that a little bit more as a beachy perfume, but this was nice, and I'm so glad that I got to try it. Another perfume sample that I wore on vacation was Dioramour, again sent to me by Cherie from the Top Note. This was interesting for me to wear because I feel like discontinued perfumes get hyped up so much, and this was definitely a case of me remembering the hype about it and people trying to get it before it was impossible to find. And then when you try them, it's like, yeah, this is good, but is it that much better than anything else that's out there? I guess it depends on what you're looking for. This to me just really smelled a lot like body lotion. Like it smelled like a really beautiful body lotion, almost a little bit like Nivea or something like that. That doesn't mean I hate it. It just did not impress me in a way that I found it to be addictive or so good that I had to keep smelling it and wearing it. You know, not it like the experience of wearing this was not like me wearing Marienbad, where I kept adding sprays of it and could not stop smelling it on myself. Which definitely happened with Marienbad, but Dioramour was like, yeah, it's good. It's like a powdery lotion-like scent. I think there's lots of powdery lotion-like scents out there and they're good, but I don't know if I necessarily want it, especially when I could just put lotion on and get the same effect. So that was my impression of Dioramour. Again, maybe I'll continue wearing it, but Cherie sent me so many things, and it will probably take me the whole year to properly sample them. But this was good, but it wasn't wowing me in any way. So that's Dioramour. If you are a fan, tell me what you think about it, and if you haven't tried it, I would say it's okay. There's lots of fun, interesting perfume out there that you might like. The one Dior Privé that I took with me and I really did enjoy was Feve Delicieuse. And I remember packing and I was kind of in the middle, or I was a little bit torn about whether I should take this one or not, because I know that Feve Delicieuse is a little bit more gourmand and sweeter, so I didn't know if it would really work well in warm weather. But I'm so glad I took it, because this ended up being my favorite Dior that I tried when I was there. And I think that this one is discontinued also, but every time I wore it, I couldn't remember what it was reminding me of. And then I did remember, and it reminded me a little bit of Memoir by L'Herbolario, because it's got this really sweet vanilla dry down. I know Feve Delicieuse is referring to the tonka bean. That Feve in French means bean, and so the name of this perfume is really delicious bean if you translate it into English. And the delicious bean that they're referring to is the tonka bean, which kind of has vanillic qualities. It can smell powdery, it can have a cherry almond kind of facet to it, and this is a tonka forward perfume. It's really beautiful, it's sweet, it's a gourmand for sure, but a wearable gourmand, and it really explores all those facets of the tonka bean. So if you're looking for something that is tonka forward, I like Feve Delicieuse. I would recommend trying to find a sample of it or a decant of it. I know that it was discontinued, but I think that there are bottles that are floating around, whereas Dioramour I think is a little bit more difficult to find. So you should be able to find it. If you're looking for something that is tonka forward, I highly recommend it. I liked wearing it, and that is the one that I know I will continue to sample and try, because I thought it was fun to wear. Maybe I also felt comfortable in it because it reminded me of a perfume that I already have. Memoir by L'Herbolario is a cinnamon lemon sugar perfume. It's quite basic. It's very affordable and easy to wear. But Feve Delicieuse is definitely more complex and more rounded. It reminded me of Memoir's, but they are not the same. I'm not saying Memoir's is a dupe. It just reminded me of it in the sweetness that it has, where it's not too sweet. And Feve Delicieuse definitely has more going on. So I like that for its complexity. Mehari's for me is like a dumb reach. I wear it when I don't know what to wear and I just want to smell nice and approachable. So I know that the one perfume sample I'm going to keep reaching for is Amouage Memoir Woman. It is just so interesting and complex and weird, and I kind of love weird perfumes a lot of the time. So that is one that I'm going to keep wearing and trying, and reminds me why I love niche perfume, because I love it when weird things become wearable things and they're just interesting. So I think, you know, every perfume collection needs a balance of that stuff. You need something that's basic and you need something that's challenging at time too. And yeah, Memoir Woman definitely is that. It is the challenging part of niche perfume, and I loved it. I really, really enjoyed wearing that one. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you made it all the way through, let me know what you think of some of these and what you recommend for me to try next. I am always interested in hearing from everybody, and I will see you hopefully very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.